Greetings aspirants, welcome to Narayana IAS. This is Karthik Moni. I'm here for daily news analysis. For today's session, I have picked up 5 important articles from the Hindu newspaper as well as Indian Express. So first article is about challenges of maritime security in the global south. And second article is about the dollarization, the concept of dollarization and the recent issue cropped in Argentina. And third article is about cyber security. And fourth article is about Muslim students' strength in higher education. So recently we are facing trouble. There is a reduction in the enrollment ratio of Muslim students in the higher education. So we are going to know about the number, and also we are going to know about the survey and the data management mechanism. And finally, we are going to discuss a project related to defense vessel creation. Coming to the first article, we have the challenges of maritime security in the global south. So exam point of view, we have to know about the concept of global south first, and also we want to know about the challenges faced by the global south in the terms of maritime security, that we have to know. And also there is a mention about India Maritime Vision 2030 in the article. So prelims point of view, we can expect some question in this area. So moving to the context, recently the global south nations are experiencing security challenges in the maritime domain. So they are facing problem, and also the article highlighted that these problems are taking new dimensions. So that is the context of this article. So first we have to know about the concept of global south. So global south is nothing but a concept, geopolitical concept. It represents the group of countries. So especially it represents the group of developing countries and less developed countries. So here it is characterizing the group of nations by having a common character, such as having the problem of poverty, having the problem of inequality, having the problem of development in terms of economy. So those aspects, they are categorizing a group of nations into one cluster. So this is what we meant by the word global south. Yes, it is nothing but a group of nations. So now we have to know the challenges faced by the global south nations from the maritime security point of view. The first aspect is power play. So nowadays there is an increased involvement of major powers. So especially, so we are facing the problem of China. So even today in the newspaper there is a mention about the presence of Chinese vessels near Myanmar. So that is that. So apart from the China, we are experiencing the problem of Russia in the Ukraine issue, that is also there, and also the presence of US in Indian Ocean region as well. So we are facing the increased involvement of major power. So that's why we are facing, as a global south nations, we are facing problem, right? So second aspect, weak law enforcement capabilities. Yes, it is accepted that the littoral states in Asia and Africa is having unequal law enforcement capabilities, right? So here I have to highlight that this unequal law enforcement capabilities, it's because of the size of the economy as well as its performance in the economy. So they are still facing the problem in order to cope up with the existing basic necessity problems such as poverty alleviation and development. So they are not having enough resources to contribute to develop the maritime infrastructure. So that's why we are facing the problem of weak law enforcement capacities, and also we are facing the problem in the coordination. So issues such as national issues, and also environmental, economical and human security issues the issue itself cross boundary in nature. So for those issues, in order to tackle such issues, we need cooperation between the countries. This cooperation is missing, especially between the global south nations. So that is another problem. And also we are facing the problem of mutual distress. So when we take the example of South Asia, so there is a mutual distress between India and Pakistan. So India and Pakistan. So mutual distress between the nations in a particular region will not only affect the cooperation between the nations, but also it will affect the cooperation of the entire region. So that will get affected. So this is because of the territorial issues or any other issues cropped between the nations, and it will create mutual distress and it will affect the larger cooperation, right? And finally, so I have to highlight the unequal impact of environment. Yes. So previously I was discussing only the security related challenges and then governance related challenges. So here I have to highlight the environmental aspect as well, because so maritime security or maritime governance includes the aspects of environment as well. So that we have to consider, because the current problem, the rising sea level, maritime pollution, climate change and natural disaster is creating disproportionate impact on global south nations, because the vulnerability itself very high. So instead of traditional thinking, previously the maritime challenge or maritime security aspects or maritime governance will include only the aspects of security and economy. Now we have to think in a broader perspective that environmental aspects, the catastrophe because of the environmental impact, that also be taken as a maritime security issue, also be there. And also, so global south is also facing the problem to raise their voice in the international arena to get security in the aspects of environmental interventions. So that is also there. So these are the challenges which we are facing in the aspects of maritime domain, especially by the global south. So now we have to know about what can be done. Traditionally, we are following some approaches. So traditionally, the maritime governance and cooperation are often siloed in nature and reactive in nature. So here you have to give more importance to these words, siloed in nature and reactive in nature. The word silo here, it means that it is giving connotation in two different aspects. First one is in terms of subjects. For example, we are dealing the problem in different sectors. For example, economy related problems we are dealing separately. Trade related problem we are dealing separately. Security related problem we are dealing separately. And environmental related problem we are dealing separately. The approaches are siloed in nature when it comes to the different sectors of the maritime domain. Right? And apart from that, I want to highlight that the word siloed approach is also meant that there is a lack of cooperation between the nations. So that is also there. And apart from that, the word reactive. So as of now, the existing approach, the existing intervention in the maritime governance and maritime domain involves ad hoc approach. So it will react only to the particular specific event and it will not think from the comprehensive perspective. So what we need proactive approach in considering the problem in a comprehensive picture. So traditionally we are facing that problem. We are working in a siloed approach and also we are mostly working in a reactive mode. So those two has to be get rid out of it to cope up with the existing emerging new maritime security threats, right? And now we need creative model in which we have to ensure the multi-stakeholder partnership. Yes, India is doing actively. For example, here I have to highlight the Quad cooperation. India is cooperating with the major players such as US, Australia, Japan to counter the security threat emerged from China. So maritime cooperation, that is multi-stakeholder partnership. And second thing, regional cooperation framework. So regional cooperation framework, because the region, the states within the region will experience the benefits, will reap the benefits, will share the problems equally, right? So they know the problems, nuanced details of the problem. So they have to have a cooperation within the region to tackle such problems, right? So for that we need a regional cooperation framework. So that is there. And third one is innovative financial mechanism. So this is very important. Why? Because here we are discussing the problem of global south. So here already I mentioned that the global south is facing the problem. They are still riddled with in alleviating the poverty, in ensuring enhancing the pace of economic development. So the finance is a problem. The economy of the nations, global south nation itself a problem. For that we have to come up with innovative financing mechanism, right? This is very important. And finally, technology driven solution is very important, especially when it comes to the climate related resilient infrastructure building. We have to build our technology. So this has to be done in a cooperative manner. So collaboration is very much important. So this is what we have to do. So under what can be done, we need creative models to tackle the new problems in the maritime domain, right? So now I am going to highlight some of the provisions given in the India Maritime Vision 2030 that was mentioned in the article. So here, so Maritime Development Fund, the government committed to increase the fund for the maritime developments. So dedicated fund of 25,000 crore will be provided at low cost, long-term financing to ensure the maritime sector. So this increased resources will increase the infrastructure development in the maritime sector, that will be there. And post-regulatory authority, so creation of institution will be there. So a pan-India port authority will be established under a new Indian Port Act, replacing the existing legislation. So they wanted to replace the existing legislation, and also by creating the new legislation, the government wanted to create a new institution to regulate the maritime sector. And also, so they wanted to create a separate connectivity transport grid project. So by bringing collaboration between the nations, it aims to enhance the regional connectivity with the neighboring countries such as Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan and Myanmar. So finally, the rationalization of port charges will be there. So as of now, the charges, the economic point of view, it is very high. So we have to eliminate the hidden charges levied by the ship, so that like we can reduce the cost involved in the shipping transportation. So by bringing transparency and bringing efficiency, we can reduce the charges. So here, this vision document is purely concentrating on economical perspective. So strategic perspective, the relevance of strategic perspective of this vision is comparatively low. So here we are discussing this particular vision document because it is mentioned in the article. Next, we have an article related to the dollarization. Exam point of view and also for the conceptual understanding from the economics point of view, we have to know about the dollarization. So we have to know about the reason why there is a need for replacement of national currency with the dollar, and also how this replacement will affect the control over the monetary policy. This we have to know. So conceptual understanding that we have to know from the concept of dollarization, right? Moving to the context, recently the candidate Javier Milei was elected as a president in Argentina. So in his election manifesto, he proposed to have the de-dollarization. He wanted to replace the Argentina's currency, that is peso, with the US dollar for the normal transaction. So this is the context of this article. So from this context, we have to know about what is meant by dollarization and why it is important, and also why the Argentina came up with such a radical proposal that we have to, right? First, we have to know about the concept of dollarization. It is nothing but the act of transitioning from one's own country's currency to the adoption of foreign currency. For example, we'll take the example of India. For example, if India want to do the dollarization, it will remove all the rupee and then they will encourage, the government will encourage the transaction of the goods and services by using the dollar. So the medium of exchange will become dollar instead of rupee. This mechanism or this phenomena is what we call it as dollarization. Here they are using the word full dollarization, which means complete removal of the native own currency. So this is what we call it as full dollarization, right? Now we have to know the reason why Argentina came up with the radical proposal. So here, this measure was proposed as a response to hyperinflation. So conceptually, hyperinflation is nothing but the range of inflation is very high. For example, the range will be above 100%, which means the purchasing power is comparatively very low. So with the existing money, the people can afford, or people can buy only very limited goods. So because of this high inflation, nearly 2/3 of the population fall below the poverty. So look at the number, look at the extent of the problem. Because of hyperinflation, around 2/3 of the population fall below the poverty level. the extent of the problem is very high. So because of this reason, only this radical proposal got traction, right? Now we have to know about how this dollarization will work to contain the inflation, right? So it will contain the money supply in the economy. Yes, previously the country, the nation or the central bank in the particular nation will have the control over the money supply. So that is there. So especially when it comes to the Argentina, the peso supply will be controlled by the country itself. So now, making dollar as a medium of exchange, the supply will get reduced. So the supply of the dollar will be regulated by the United States. So the dollar supply will get regulated, the supply of the money will get reduced. So here we have to know about how the supply of the money is having the relation with the inflation. So if there is more supply in money, for example, if I am having more money with me, which means there will be a more demand. So the demand for the goods and services will be high. So if you are reducing the supply, if you are regulating the supply, which means availability of the money in the market will be reduced, and in this aspect, it will reduce the demand of the goods, and by reducing the demands of the good, we can reduce the inflation, right? So coming to the Indian context, think from the perspective, as of now we are like seeing the inflation rate of 8 to 9%, 6 to 8% itself very high. So it will affect the economy. We are thinking from that perspective. Think that if it is going to the level of 100%, going above the percentage of 100%. So the problem, the magnitude of the problem is very high, right? That's why they came up with a radical proposal. The dollarization will control the money supply. By controlling the money supply, we can reduce the demands of the goods and services. By controlling the demands, we can control the inflation in the economy. But there is a question whether dollarization is in need to control the money supply, to control the inflation. That is still a question mark. Now we have to know about the concerns arises out of full dollarization. So first thing is that the control over the monetary policy. So it will get affected. The country will loses its control over the monetary policy because the supply of the dollar will be regulated by the other nation, which means here it will be regulated by the United States, which means the Argentina will lose control on the money supply, which means the monetary policy control of the particular nation will get affected, right? So control over the monetary policy is very much important. For example, in order to regulate the interest rate, in order to regulate the banking operations, in order to control the inflation, in order to regulate the trade. So those things we need the control on monetary policies that will get affected. So here we have to see from the different perspective also, because European Union or greater economic cooperation used to have a similar monetary policy. On the other way also it will work, but it has to be built on the consensual manner. So here the measure, the proposal is taken as an ad hoc measure to contain the problem of hyperinflation. So here the control or losing the control over the monetary policy is a concern, right? So apart from that, I also want to highlight the aspects of foreign trade fund. So here the central banks will regulate or it will intervene. So it will devaluate the currency to increase the export. So such intervention is very much important in order to increase the export. But when we are using the dollar as a currency, it is inbuilt, is having the capacity of appreciation. It will impact the overall trade, which means the export of a particular country will get affected or will get affected because of having dollar as a currency. So that also be taken into account before considering the possibility of dollarization. Coming to the next article, we have after 26/11 attack, there is the emergence of new terror. So this article is discussing the problem of cyber security, the aspects of cyber security, right? Exam point of view, we can expect some question, larger question in terms of terrorism. So we can expect question in such a way that how the terrorism is evolving That can be a possible area, and also we can expect some direct question related to the cyber security. Previously, we had a question in 2021, keeping in view of India's internal security, analyze the impact of cross-border cyber attacks, also discuss defensive measures against the sophisticated attacks. This was the question asked in 2021. So we are also expecting similar question in the upcoming examination. Coming to the context, after 26/11 attack, it highlighted that India's security measures are not immutable in nature. So it highlighted that the security aspects can be breached. So in this aspect, we have to think that the existing capacity of terror groups are going sophistication. They are able to access to technologies. So in this aspect, there is an urgent need for robust security measures. So here I want to highlight that the India's need for strengthening the cyber security. Why? Because so we have economic aspirations, we have strategic aspirations, and also we have to think from the perspective of data. Right? In the economical aspect, India have to work on the cyber security. Why? Because as of now, we are currently relying more on digital infrastructure. For example, we are using e-commerce platforms. We are using financial transaction through digital infrastructure. So in order to ensure the safe delivery of such economic services, we need to strengthen our digital or cyber security. And second aspect, in terms of strategic perspective, as a strategic aspirations, like the critical infrastructure such as power grids, communication network, and defense establishments are giving essential services to the society. So protecting such critical infrastructure, ensuring the delivery of such essential services, we need to strengthen our cyber security. And finally, data point of view, India, a huge market which is using the huge number of digital infrastructure. So we are creating more data. Day by day, the data creation is increasing day by day, right? So in order to protect and in order to ensure the privacy of such data, we need to strengthen our cyber security. So this is the reason why I'm discussing this article. So now, coming to the historic background on the aspects of terrorism, the terrorism is evolving. Yes, initially they concentrated on traditional warfare system, and that too the problem of terrorism cropped majorly in 1990s. We faced the severe problem in 1990s, that is starting with 1993 serial bomb blast in Mumbai, and also the traditional warfare system got escalated. It reached its peak in 2008 due to 26/11 attack. So now the dimension of terrorism is slowly changing. Now the terror groups of employing new sophisticated technology in order to propagate, in order to recruit, in order to plan the terror activities. This is highly evident from the IS activities. It used sophisticated technology for the recruitment. So shifting to the cyberspace have changed the battleground entirely because of the transboundary nature, and they can make such terror attacks in the distant region itself, and it is creating the new battlegrounds. Right? In this aspect, the traditional warfare got changed to a new dimension. So cyber security is new area that we have to work. So on this aspect, we have to know the differences between the cyber threats. So first aspect, the cyber warfare, right? So cyber warfare, we are using the word warfare. So I'm highlighting the word warfare because war means it is between two nations. It is state sponsored in nature. So that is why we are mentioning the word state warfare or cyber warfare. So it is a form of conflict involving computer or network based attack by one nation state on another. So cyber warfare, it is attacking the network or the hardware by one country to another. So this is what we meant by the word cyber warfare. So there are some examples. Slothful media malware. So US Department of Defense exposed the cyber attack on organizations in India, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Malaysia, Russia and Ukraine. And also state-sponsored Chinese hacker groups targeted various Indian power grids. Right? So try to give more examples. Slothful media malware is one such example. So this is related to cyber warfare. So next we have to know about the cyber terrorism. It is any premeditated, potentially motivated attack against information system, programs and data that results in violence. So it is by the individual or private organization or by terrorist groups. So cyber terrorism is different, cyber warfare is different. So one is by the state organization, another one is by the non-state entities. So this is the difference between these two. So example, in 2019 there was an attack in the digital infrastructure of Kodamkulam project that was there. So by the malware attack, and going to the number, the statistics reveal that India is most targeted. India is most targeted, which means India is vulnerable for cyber attacks. Look at the number, 13.7% of all cyber attacks. Globally, India is facing more problem. So keeping this number in mind, we have to think from the government measures, right? India, the government have to take stringent action to protect our digital and critical infrastructure from such cyber threat. So going to the government response. So we have a legislation, Information Technology Act 2000, that regulate the economic transactions and addresses cyber related offenses. And also we are having National Cyber Policy 2013. It focuses on creating secure cyber ecosystem, and also it intended to provide or protect critical infrastructure. And National Cyber Security Strategy 2020. It elaborated the policy of 2013 and it aims to strengthen the security of cyberspace in India. It came up with guidelines, nuanced strategies for the cyber security. And also we have a scheme called Cyber Surakshit Bharat Initiative. So it aims to increase the awareness, it aims to increase the outreach, and also this scheme wanted to increase the capacity building. They wanted to work on the capacity building in terms of cyber security, and also it also work on ensuring the collaboration between the stakeholders. So it is a comprehensive scheme on cyber security. So we are having the legislation, we are having the policy, and also we are having the comprehensive scheme to tackle the cyber security related problems. And finally, we also have a National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center. We have an exclusive technical body for the protection or to safeguard the critical information infrastructure also. So it can be taken as an institutional measure. We are also having another set of measures, National Cyber Security Coordination Center, that is an institutional measure to scan the internet traffic and communication coming into the country to provide real-time cyber intelligence. So apart from that, we also have another small initiative such as Cyber Swachhata Kendra to provide a platform for internet users to clear their devices and computers from malwares and viruses. So finally, we have an awareness creation measure, information security education and awareness project. So under this project, we trained around 1.14 lakh people through 52 institutions to raise the awareness, to provide education and research and training in the field of cyber security. So we have legislation measure, we have institutional measure, we have the policy document, and also we have a comprehensive cyber security scheme, and also we have a measure to increase the awareness. In this aspect, the government of India is strengthening the cyber security aspects. Coming to the next article, we have Muslim students' strength in higher education fell by 1.79 lakh in 2020-2021. So exam point of view, we can expect some questions related to the Unified District Information System for Education Plus, and also we can expect question related to the All India Survey of Higher Education. So prelims point of view, we can expect some question, and also we can use this data in the mains examination about the challenges in increasing the access to education, and also challenges and increasing the enrollment ratio of Muslim population in India. So those areas we can use this statistics to justify the answer, right? Coming to the context, so the data from Unified District Information System for Education Plus and All India Survey of Higher Education highlighted that the enrollment of Muslim students in higher education in the age group of 18 to 23 dropped by more than 8.5% in 2020 and 2021. So between 2020 to 2021, so there is a huge drop. Look at the percentage, it is 8.5%. So this is the problem. Apart from that, it also highlighted that apart from the higher education sector, there is a drop even in the school level secondary education. So look at the number. So the overall Muslim population marks around 4.42%. So here the total enrollment slightly decreases to 12.62% at the secondary level, and also there is a decline to 10.76% at the higher secondary level. So the problem, the dropout, the problem of lesser enrollment, the problem of drop down is not only there in the higher education, it is there even in the secondary level education also. So this we have to highlight. And spatial point of view, states such as Bihar and Madhya Pradesh have relatively low gross enrollment ratio for Muslim students. So central region, that is central India, is facing the problem of low gross enrollment is a problem in central Indian states. So that we have to highlight. So now we have to know about the All India Survey of Higher Education. We can expect some factual questions in the prelims examination. For that aspect, we have to know the factual details. So first aspect is, it is a survey. So AISHE, AISHE is a survey. So to know the status of higher education in India. So it will collect the data from the higher education institutions, and by getting these details, we can able to assess the performance of higher education in India. So second aspect, it is an initiative of Ministry of Education, and also it is an annual. So data is collected and published on an annual basis, and also it is collected through a web-based platform. So we are using web-based portal to collect the data. So after collecting, we'll include the data into the portal. So in this aspect, the data will be reflected in a real-time basis. So that's why we are using the web-based portal, and this practice started from 2010-11, and also we are collecting several parameters. We are collecting the data of several parameters, collecting the data of teacher and student enrollment, programs, and also examination result, and also finances and infrastructure also we are collecting. Apart from that, we are collecting nuanced data such as institutional density, gross enrollment ratio, pupil teacher ratio, gender parity index, per student expenditure. So those parameters will give more insights, and by getting these inputs, we can able to work on improving the quality of higher education in India. So now we get to know the details and factual ideas of the survey. Now we have to know about the aspects of data management, right? We collected some data. That data has to be managed properly. For that, we are having a separate system, that is Unified District Information System for Education Plus. So Unified District Information System, yes, the data already collected through AISHE. So now we have to process the data. So for that, we need a data management tool. That is what we call it as UDISE plus, right? So it is a data management system launched in 2000 1213 by Ministry of Education. DISE is nothing but District Information System for Education for elementary education, and also we are having SCMIS, that is Secondary Education Management Information System. So that system we are used for the secondary education. Now they have integrated both the systems and they created one unified platform, that is what we call it as UDISE plus, right? So apart from that, so we are collecting comprehensive data for the classes from 1 to 12 in both government as well as private sector. So classes from 1 to 12, and also institutions, we are collecting data for government as well as private sector. And apart from that spatial dimension, we are collecting and monitoring data across the nation. So this data collection is happening across the nation, right? Spatially, we are conducting this survey all over India, right? Apart from that, we have to know that UDISE plus, what the word plus meant, right? So here it is introduced in 2018-19. So here we included some sophisticated statistical tools to improve the data entry and also to reduce the error and also to improve or to enhance the data quality. So we came up with new statistical tool to improve the quality of the data in collecting, in monitoring and assessing and inferring the data from the survey collected. Next we have an article related to advanced warship impal. So exam point of view, we can expect some direct prelims question related to INS impal, that is possible, and also we can expect some question related to the project 15B. So we also had a prelims question in the previous year. In 2016 there was a question, which one of the following is the best description of INS Asra Dharani? So we can also expect some similar question in the upcoming examination. So that's why we are discussing this article. So coming to the context part, so under project 15B, we are constructing 4 stealth guided missile destroyers. So we are having INS Visakhapatnam, second one is INS Mormugao, third one is INS Impal, and fourth one is INS Surat. Under project 15B, Indian government is developing 4 missile destroyers. So recently the defense minister, the Rajnath Singh, unveiled the crest of the missile destroyer Impal. So this is the context of this article. So from this context, we have to know about the INS Impal, specifications of INS Impal, and also we have to know about the project 15, 15A and also project 15B, right? Coming to the INS Impal, so we have to know that it is constructed using the indigenous steel, right? So DMR 249A, and it is among the largest destroyer built in India. So and also we have to know that it is equipped with sophisticated missiles such as BrahMos and also Barak 8. Apart from that, it also equipped with some other specifications such as having indigenously developed anti-submarine weapons, and also it can carry heavyweight torpedoes, and also it is having special rocket launchers as well. Indigenous point of view, so it is constructed under P, that is project 15B. It exhibits 72% of indigenous content, and previously under project 15A, 59% of the content is from India, and project 15, 42% of the content is from India. So nowadays the project from P15 to P15B, so we are doing this indigenization under the program called Atmanirbhar Bharat program, right? So now we have to know about the project 15. So apart from the project 15, project 15A is there, project 15B is there. So project 15, it was started in 1990s to increase the number of guided missile destroyers. So initially the project 15B is named as Delhi class guided missile destroyers, followed by we had project 15A named as Kolkata class guided missile destroyers, and currently we are having project 15B named as Vishakhapatnam class guided missile destroyers. So the advantage of having this recent project is that we are using more state-of-art technology. So indigenization is more. So that is the idea. So the project was launched, that is project 15B was launched in 2011. So we are using more state-of-art weapons and sensors, and also we are using advanced stealth features. And also it is known for its improved survivability and sea keeping and stealth capacities and maneuverability, right? So in this class we already discussed INS Vishakhapatnam is the first destroyer, and second one is Mamagoa, and third one is Impal, and finally we will be having INS Surat as an advanced missile guided destroyer. Now let's try some of the prelims practice question. So first question, consider the following pairs. So here we have the international conventions, and also it mentioned about the purposes. We want to relate, we have to match the convention with the purpose. So first one is United Nations Convention on the Law of Seas. So it is a convention to establish a legal framework for all aspects of the use of world oceans and sea. So this is the right pair. Second one, International Seabed Authority, seabed. So that is a clue. So it regulates the exploration, exploitation of mineral resources. So this is the right pair. Third one, Hong Kong Convention. Okay, we might not be knowing. But fourth one, we can able to find a logic. So Marpol Convention. Marpol is related to pollution. So Marpol pollution is related to the prevention of pollution of marine environment by ships. So we can eliminate easily by the name itself. And Hong Kong Convention is related to regulate the ship recycling. So all the four pairs are not matched correctly. So none of the above. Which of the following pairs are correctly matched? So answer is D. Yes, answer is D. Second question. Consider the following statements. Full dollarization can be a process to combat hyperinflationary cycles in an economy. Yes, we saw the example of Argentina. The adoption of full dollarization as a process to combat economic instability by an economy will result in loss of policy leverage to exercise its monetary policy. Yes, this statement is also correct. Both the statements are correct. So option, both the statements are correct. Answer is C. Yes, it's correct. Coming to the third question, consider the following statements. Cyber terrorism is the use of cyber attack to achieve political goals. So the statement is generic in nature. So it seems correct. Second statement, the cyber warfare is the use of cyber attack to disrupt or damage critical infrastructure. So there is no clear-cut differentiation between the statement. It is giving very generic insights. So we can take both the statements as correct. Which of the following above statements are correct? So option is C, both 1 and 2. Yes, answer is C. So last question, which one of the following is the best description of INS Impal? Amphibious warship? No. Nuclear powered submarine? No. Stealth guided missile destroyer? Yes, it is a stealth guided missile destroyer. So option is C. Yes, option is C. Now let's try one mains practice question. Critically analyze the evolving nature of cyber threat and also the measures taken by the government of India. It is a two-part question. Try to give more or equal weightage to both the parts. So we can start with the introduction. We can mention that India is facing more trouble. We can give the number that more than 13% of the recent cyber attacks happened in India globally. More than 13% that we can mention, and also we can tell them that the terrorist warfare or security aspect is changing from the traditional aspect to cyber security aspect. So in this aspect, India have to make some robust cyber security measures. So this can be a possible introduction, and also body part. what we can do is clear-cut differentiation of evolution of a cyber security threat and also the government measures is needed. So what we can do is we can talk about the sophistication aspect and also we can talk about the area of application. So here what we can do is initially the terrorist organization use the technology for the recruitment and also to execute or to create the plans. But now they are using the technology or to directly hit or to create the destruction. For example, creating malwares to attack the critical infrastructure and also creating malware to get the access to the data and also for the cyber espionage to get the important information from the defense establishments. So in this aspect, the area of interest is changing, right? And apart from that, we can also mention the intensity. So previously it was low, now the cyber related threat is increasing. We can give the number as a justification and also we can tell them that the intensity of the destruction created is also high, the impact which is creating. So previously it used to create only the limited section, now the impact is affecting the greater mass, right? If they are targeting the critical infrastructure, it means it will create greater impact. So this also we can highlight and also we can bring the aspects of cross-boundary nature. So that also a possible area we can highlight. And apart from that, government's response, we can mention the legislation measures, institutional measures, we can quote the vision documents and also we can quote the comprehensive cyber security schemes that we can include. And here we have to talk about the efficacy because the question is about analysis of the government measures. So we have to include the analysis part also. So now as a conclusion, we can highlight the incident of 26/11 attack, that the terrorist activities at terrorist agencies breached the India's security protocol, and we can also highlight that the existing era of digitalization, there is a possibility that such breach of terrorist activities are also possible, and also we are facing more problem, so that India, the government have to take stringent measures to protect India from such cyber activities. So that's all for today's discussion. Thanks for watching. Do like, share and comment the video and don't forget to subscribe the channel. Thank you.